Probably D&D's most relevant and important aspect is always the NPCs. From making relationships to handing out quests or becoming your party's villain, it's always important to make NPCs interesting, relatable, and especially interactable. Now, this is definitely easier said than done, but every single one of you has the capability to make interesting NPCs that will attract your players and make the campaign feel alive. So, let's discuss how to exactly make them. First things first is that obviously every NPC needs a name. Now, if you're like me, this is the hardest part of D&D and just fantasy writing in general. I usually suck at naming things. The best workaround this that I found is that if you're having trouble, look at examples of famous names and find ways to twist it slightly to your satisfaction. Now, this is only something that I really do for my very special NPCs that I want to give special attention to, but you're going to make hundreds of them. So honestly, I like to go look at games that have a list of names at character creation and just write down my favorite ones. Take like 15 minutes to do it every time you find one, and eventually you'll have a large list to choose. Now, our next step is very important, and it's to mention that not all NPCs are created equally. It is actually crazy to develop and write out an intricate backstory and unique personality to every single NPC you're gonna make. You are crazy for trying that. Some NPCs are meant to serve as placeholders or service providers, and that's fine, but you can give a three-dimensional appearance to a one-dimensional purpose. That being said, it is good to classify that I categorize NPCs into three categories: prime, trivial, and reserve NPCs. Let's go over what that is exactly. Prime NPCs are the main NPCs that influence the events of your world. Pretty much, these are the main characters that you care about and want the party and the players to get attached to. Now, when making prime NPCs, there are some things that have to be the baseline standard for them to be effective. The first point to talk about is identity. Backstory and motivation are the two driving forces that ultimately make up the main identity of your NPC. And connecting the two together is how you make a relatable character that, where your party, whether they love it or hate it, can understand why the motivation is what it is. The next one is personality. Part of DMing is putting on a lot of different hats, and your diversity of characters should be as well. Consider if this character is shy, cautious, trusting, pessimistic, or comedic. While this mainly is reflective of your personal skills as a DM to bring characters to life, I do have questions that are good methods to help give personality to your characters. Just to read a couple of the lists, some things are: what do they fear? Who are they afraid to lose? What would make them laugh or cry? Or more importantly, what is an event that changed their view of the world? This is a great way to instill their personality, but also tie it back to their backstory, which helps also create their identity. The last one I want to talk about is destiny, and in my opinion, this is extremely overlooked usually. To me, the best NPCs are the ones that adapt with the players and are usually adapted by the players. When I say destiny, I mean that the NPC's future can be affected by player choices and conversations. If the players feel that an NPC can't be changed no matter what, then they will quickly understand that the NPC is meant to serve one purpose no matter what. So for the NPCs you want interesting, you need to ensure that their path is not set in stone, but rather molded by the hands of the party. The next one is trivial NPCs, and these are ones that are more or less just essentially servants that do the necessary job. They're not important to the session. For example, if a player just needs a stable for their mount or to repair their sword quickly, these NPCs are the ones to do it without much development planned out. However, that does not mean you can't give the appearance of a three-dimensional character to a one-dimensional purpose. Providing a fun trait to these characters is how you instill them within the memory of the party. These characters are your main chance to just try out these goofy and crazy ideas you have. I cannot stress enough how effective a voice is, so try out an accent or a fun voice, because worst comes to worst, these NPCs can be expendable and won't be seen too much. With that being said, however, always be open to the idea that these NPCs can become important based on your players' interaction. Reserve NPCs are a unique section because they aren't always made pertaining to the campaign. Rather, it's a list of in-depth NPCs that can appear anywhere in any campaign when I need them to. For example, I've created a mercenary fighter that can easily be placed in any town when I need them. Reserve NPCs are super useful for moments where you quickly need an emergency character to fill the location or to increase tension in a situation, but you also want them to be drawn out and thought of. I found it to be by far the best method of having to improvise characters. Reserve NPCs are typically in search of something to explain the reason why they're found anywhere, so that's the only thing to really keep in mind when putting a trait to them, is try your best to justify why they are where they are. That being said, overall, reserve NPCs are essentially prime NPCs that are put into a large list that you can pull from when you need some NPCs to fill in. Now, when it comes to NPCs overall, it's more about their interaction with the players than anything else. An amazing backstory can be written on paper, but if the chemistry isn't right, then it won't go anywhere. Delivery, performance, and interaction is by far what drives NPCs to become a player's favorite. And so if you had plans for an NPC to be amazing and they didn't, it's okay. You'll get it on the next one. Once you classify an NPC into one of the 3 categories, you can also set your expectations for it. And as long as you consider all of the factors, you are giving it the best chance of becoming an amazing NPC to your party. But if there's one thing you'll quickly learn in D&D, it's that nothing is guaranteed. Sometimes the Goblin Funkle, who they saved in a dungeon, becomes their favorite character ever. So most of all, and most importantly, have fun with it. Thank you for watching if you made it all the way here. If you have more questions on a more in-depth analysis onto creating an NPC, go ahead and put them in the comments and I'll answer them. Or go ahead and join our Discord where you can interact with our community and we can go over it even on our streams. That being said, hope you're having a great day. Grab a nice cup of coffee and see you on the next one.